All right, welcome to this very special training that we have for you today as a member of Real Fast VIP. One of the things that I'm always looking to do is how do I help you create more sales and therefore more royalty income and passive income. And I've long said that really the cornerstone of your business is the relationship with your list, with your community. And I know some people say, well, Daniel, I don't have one. I don't have a community. I don't know how to do that. And I say, well, that's okay. I understand, because none of us were born with a list. But you could certainly build one and develop that relationship with that community. And the best way, or a good way, it maybe not be the best way, but a really, really good way to build your list, both from the standpoint of fans of you, but also for potential joint venture partners, is by doing a simple Amazon bestseller campaign. And I'm going to actually walk you through one of these campaigns. And let me just ask you: have any of you here have any of you done a bestseller campaign? Have you done a bestseller campaign before? If so, go to your questions box. I'd love to hear. But the really cool thing is that with your bestseller campaign, it's not just about making your book a bestseller. That's nice. That's a cool thing. But the fact is it's really not so much a marketing so much a marketing thing. So because yeah, you're going to sell a bunch of books up front, but it's not going to keep going. What's going to keep your book sales going is the relationships that you build with your tribe, and also joint venture relationships. So again, let me show you what I mean, because this is a way, doing a bestseller campaign, to do exactly that. All right, so here's basically how these things work. Amazon has two types of bestseller lists. There's the top 100 overall in both fiction and nonfiction, and then the top 100 in each of the categories. And one of the reasons why getting into and onto the Amazon bestseller list is so doable is because these lists are updated every hour. And your goal here is to reach that bestseller list within a very short period of time in order to affect the hourly rankings. Now, the way we do that is we get a lot of people, a lot of joint venture partners to send traffic to your site and to your page. And the beautiful thing here is that I'm actually going to help seed that. I'm going to make that easier for you to do. Okay, I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a second. But that's basically how it works. And I just kind of wanted to take you through a couple of case studies here of how I did this, because I started off with doing this with my book, Erasing Your Criminal Background Legally, The Ultimate Guide to Second Chances. And the problem with this book was that, first off, it had nothing at all to do with the rest of my business. And that was a problem, because it didn't really fit. I mean, I wasn't practicing law. I wasn't interested in practicing law. So what was the deal? Why did I do it? Well, at the time, I wasn't thinking along those lines. I just thought, oh, this would be this is a needed book. Let me write the book. Not thinking of the bigger picture. I have since learned from that mistake, but it still makes a useful case study for you all, because in creating a bestseller out of this book, Erasing Your Criminal Background Legally, I probably, much like you, did not have a list to start with. So what I did was I wrote 4 or 5 articles and posted them on blogs and popular article sites, and those blog articles basically sent folks to a squeeze page, because one of the cool things that you could do as writing an article for folks is you can get what is called a resource box at the bottom of your article, or sometimes it's at the top. But essentially, the owner of the blog or the owner of the site allows you to send traffic from their blog to wherever you want. And in this case, I sent folks from these 4 or 5 articles that I wrote to a squeeze page. And when I say squeeze page, I mean it is just basically a name squeeze page. In other words, you send people there, they get something of value in exchange for their name and email address. You use it to squeeze out the name and email from folks, right? And this is actually the page and how it looked. This is where I sent folks, and it's not an overly attractive page, but it worked just fine. And the really interesting thing here too is that with that, we over a course of time, I was building that list. Now, one of the things I want to see, let's see, the slide part of the screen flickers off and on. Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure that I could do much about that. Perhaps you can watch the replay. We're making a replay right now, right? Okay. So at any rate, what I wanted to let you know is that with this book, with my Erasing Your Criminal Background Legally book, I just put this page up. Now, here's a really important point. Before I wrote the book, before I even started this book, I put up this page. I wrote those 3 or 4 articles, and I put up this page that you're looking at right now, okay? And then I just let it brew. I just let folks go there and sign up for the list, and essentially, over time, we had over 800 people on that list. And the problem, though, with that is, even though I had that, I was not communicating with that list, so they were mostly cold prospects. I did have a decent-sized list from other parts of my business, close to about 20,000 people, but they were you, essentially. They were speakers, authors, coaches, trainers, independent publishers, and probably not the group that would necessarily buy my book. So I needed to find a way, essentially, of coming up with a way to entice you all, or people like you, people that didn't really need my book, to buy it anyway, okay? And the way that I did that was I created an ethical bribe, and what I did was created another product specifically for this promotion, and it was called the Effective Time Savers Videos. And the idea of it was that everyone needs to save time. Everyone needs to be more productive. And then I just showed folks how I was doing that, because I'm very I don't know what's the word, ADD. I'm very all over the place. It's hard for me to keep focused and doing one thing. So I needed these things to help keep me on track and keep me productive. So I put those sort of hacks that I use personally into Effective Time Savers, and actually then wrote this sales page that went with it. And what I ended up doing was I sent 3 launch emails to my entire list. That video training, I think I put a price on it of about $15. Now, here's the other thing that I did, was I gave away rights to that video. Okay, I gave away rights to that video so that people could take the sales page, they can take the video, they can take all of that and sell it for their, for themselves and keep 100% of the profits. But they had to buy my book on a singular day. So the offer was pretty compelling, even if you didn't want my book. Okay, which is even, I mean, this strategy is even more powerful if you have a group that's interested in your book. I mean, actually interested in your book. But again, I didn't have that, and I think it's pretty good for you all to know how to do this, right? So I had another consideration is I had, and this is the really important point, I had friends, aka joint venture partners, who also sent emails for me. But again, my friends list were unrelated to the book. In other words, people on the list did not personally need the book. So again, I made that same offer for resale rights to the Effective Time Savers video, and essentially the results were pretty damn good. Even though my launch, again, I put this together very, very quickly, probably did it in about 3 days, 4 days, something like that, just very quick little launch. My book went to #1 on the in 3 category bestseller list, and then we even outsold John Grisham for a while in The Innocent Man, and that's always a cool thing to be able to say. We did very well in Practical Guides, Under the Law, and Criminal Law as well was #1 bestseller. Now, here's the rub. You might be asking, well, Daniel, that sounds great, but how much did it? How many copies did you need to sell? And that's the really interesting thing, because I didn't have to sell but about 54 copies to do this, right? Again, we sold 54 copies of the book in 1 day just using this strategy. And again, so you don't need to sell a lot of books in order to be #1 in a category. And there's a little bit of a trick to that, and I'm going to teach you that post haste here.